All right, so aggregations. So this only tells the raw data plus some transformations. That's only part of the story. We're still going to want to, again, extract actual insights and actionable conclusions from the data. And that means reducing it from potentially billions of rows to some summary statistics via aggregation functions. And we've seen these in SQL. So if you're feeling good about aggregating things and using group by, for example, in your SQL queries, and hopefully you've been messing around with SQL a good bit and doing that. Hopefully that understanding will transfer over here because it's a very similar process. The syntax looks a little bit different, but the concept is exactly the same. So group by is the first one. It's a super important aggregation. Most aggregations will have a group by included. It's called group by literally because of SQL. Data tables will usually reserve one column as a primary key. That is a column for which each row has a unique value. This is to facilitate access to the exact rows of a data table that a user wants to view. The other columns will often have repeated values such as age groups in the above examples. We can use these columns to explore the data using the Pandas API, so the way that Pandas basically is written. So we get some syntax stuff here. We're also introducing .count. It's a very common one, exact same as how it's used in SQL. So we're going to do customers group by. We're going to pass in age group. And we're going to do .count. We're going to print. Well, first of all, let's go ahead and just see that. All right, so sure enough, in this case, we have 7 adults, 1 senior, and 2 young adults. And so nice, and that's how we break it down by age group. Cool. We'd also print the type of this, of customers group by age group. And sure enough, we get a data frame group by, which is very interesting. I think I'll talk about this later. But notice that when we use a group by, we get a different data type, right? So rather than another data frame, this is a group by data frame. So there's going to be different things that we can use as tools on a group by data frame, right? Cool. Oh, that's not gonna work. Cool. All right, so types of group by. The results here is a new data frame, the columns of which all contain the counts of the grouped field. Notice the type of a grouped data frame. And so again, we get a data frame group by. We can run this again here. And so in this case, we get a regular data frame here. And when we use the group by, we get a data frame group by, which is a little bit different. This is because simply grouping data doesn't quite make sense without an aggregation function like count to pair with. In this case, we're counting occurrences of the grouped field, but it's not all we can do. We take averages, standard deviations, mins, maxes, and so much more. Let's see how this works. So in this case, we can use mean, which is, again, the average. It's add all the values together and then divide by the number of values in the entire collection. So we're going to say customers dot group by age group dot mean. What does this look like? Okay, so we've got that. What if we only want to pull back a couple columns, right? So we've got the averages of all these different things here. The average of the customer ID, which is kind of not very useful. But what if we just wanted to look at the ages and the customer tenure, right? And so what we can do is we can now just index to those. So we can say customer tenure ages. And sure enough, there we go. We get those values, and those values are actually useful when you get the mean values of those. Keep in mind that it also automatically dropped our, if we look at customers, it also dropped things that were strings. So we didn't end up having the loyalty age group or age group, that those automatically got compressed here. So they ended up showing there. We're not trying to actually get the average of adult. All right, cool. Group by with multiple columns. we end up with the average age of the groups in the last column, the average tenure in the tenure column, so on and so forth. You can even split the groups more finely by passing a list of columns to group by. So here we can have customers.group by, and we're going to pass in age group and ages. And we can say dot mean, dot sort, values, which I think we saw earlier, ages, and then we can have ascending equals false. And so then we're going to start with senior and go down to adult and then young adult, because we're sorting it based on the ages. And so again, once you start getting familiar with these tools and how they kind of string together, things get really powerful really quickly. It gets very smooth, this process. So customers.group by, you have your age group and ages, and your average of them, and then they get sorted. So that's pretty cool. And we could also, yeah, so it's like, yeah, anyways, cool. Good stuff. And we can move on, drop duplicates from customers. So let's have another look at customers here. So there's our customers. And then we're going to drop our duplicates. So we can do customers copy. We're going to make a copy so we don't delete the actual values. Customers dot drop duplicates. Renewal number dot reset index drop equals true, and that allows us to actually drop the things. And then let's look at customers copy. And so you can see that we've shrunk this down quite a bit, and now our renewal numbers don't repeat, right? So we've dropped any duplicates of those renewal numbers, and so that plays out. And now we have a much smaller set of data to look at. And then finally, if we want to add it to a CSV file, you can run this and make sure that it's set up to the correct file path. So again, for me, I am operating on, I think, Pandas. Yeah, just this one right here, or I guess a student copy, Pandas walkthrough student copy. So that's the document that I'm working on right now. And I'm going to put it into files. And save it as customers.csv. So I should be able to do that. And I think that should download it. It should go. There it is. Customers.csv, seconds ago. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So thus the group by operation allows you to rapidly make summary observations about the state of your entire data set at flexible granularity. So how detailed and how zoomed in you want to be. In the one line above, we actually did something very complicated. This one, and that's the power of the data frame. In fact, the process, actually a lot of this stuff is fairly complicated and would be hard to do with Excel, but very easy to do here. It's the power of the data frame. In fact, the process often consists of several iterable group by operations, each revealing greater insight than the last. If you don't know where to start with the data set, try a bunch of group bys. Just start looking at your data that way. It's a really good advice. So that's the end of this document. You have homework. Find the total number of runs and RBIs for the Red Sox. So we have kind of a couple steps here to see what they are going to look like. And then find the average age of runners in the 2017 Boston Marathon. So you will have to pull back your Boston Marathon data for that as well. And that is your homework. So I will see you on the next level of Pandas, where we're going to get even more SQL-y with our Python. It should be really cool. I'll see you there.